Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Yes, I have Neuro Coffee in hand as usual, and it is perfect. So I was on a mentorship call this morning with somebody in Italy. I got a question this morning from a guy named Carmine, feeling very Italian. You get the Italian Batman today. So since I brought up Carmine's question, let's go ahead and dig right into the Q&A. So Carmine says, I have a client who experiences groin pain on the right side with hip flexion and internal rotation. He's an narrow ISA with good external rotation measures, but limited internal rotation on both sides and limited hip flexion on the right. He walks with his feet pointed outward. What position would this pelvis be in given these measures, and what activities would you recommend to do or to avoid? And then he throws in a really good comment here where he says, could this be a lateral orientation of the pelvis in which he's using a posterior and anterior compressive strategy? Okay, Carmine, you are on it. So let's reconstruct the pelvis first, and then we'll have a great idea as to what type of an activity we're going to select for this situation. So let me grab. All right, so Carmine says that he's got a narrow guy, so he's going to be narrow, which means that he's going to be in a relatively inhaled position of the pelvis. So right away, this biases me towards external rotation, takes away internal rotation. So far, so good. Now, he says that he's maintaining bilateral external rotation on both sides, which means we probably don't have an anterior orientation of the pelvis. So TJ from Instagram, you asked a question on one of the videos from yesterday as to how to tell when you have the anterior orientation. So if that pelvis goes forward, I'm going to lose my ERs. But this guy's maintaining his ERs rather nicely, okay? But then he throws in the curveball that he's missing some hip flexion on the right side, okay? And then I love your lateral orientation comment, Carmine, because that's what I think is going on. So if we look at the pelvis here, and if I shift him straight over to the right, what's going to happen here is I'm going to pick up some concentric orientation of the upper portion of the right adductor magnus. So the right adductor magnus, especially in this upper area, has a very strong ER element to it. So if I lateralize myself this way, so if I shift straight over to the right, I'm going to pick up concentric orientation there. So it helps me maintain my ER because it doesn't limit ER, but it's going to limit IR. And because the adductor magnus has a component of what we would consider traditional hip extension, it's also going to limit the hip flexion on that side. So I think that while you're trying to get hip flexion internal rotation, you're going to get that compressive strategy on the front, and therefore that's going to be your client's groin issue, if you will. So we want to think about taking somebody from this sort of right shifted over strategy to a left shifted over strategy. So the reason that this occurs in the first place is you probably got somebody that is in a left late propulsive strategy, and so we want to try to flip-flop that, Carmine. So here's what you're going to do. You're probably going to have to put them in a side lying position, especially left side lying, and drive right propulsive strategies if you're in a rehab mode. Once you get past that and you start to see the recapturing of normal hip ranges of motion, normal pelvic orientations, and full excursion of your breathing strategies, then what I would probably do is take him into the gym, and I would start with a shallow parallel stance cable chop to the left. So we're actually going to try to recreate, or we're going to try to delay that propulsive strategy on the left and improve the propulsive strategy from the right. There's a couple videos on Instagram that actually utilize that stance probably within the last few weeks. So look back on those and start to apply those. Sled drags to the left, definitely going to create the delay on the left and increase the right propulsive strategy. Staggered stance, high to low cable pressing then comes into play, where I'm actually going to be pushing backwards on the left, pushing back and to the left with the right side. Half kneeling cable chop, left knee down, going high right to low left will also be on the table there. So those are your early gym strategies. Later on, now we can start to impose some more dynamics. So this is where we're going to actually start to increase the load and increase the ability to manage this left propulsive strategy under load so we don't reinforce it, so we can overcome it by maintaining the right propulsive strategy. So the dumbbell loaded left-sided split squat comes into play at that point. Split stance, one arm kettlebell swings, allowing you to shift back and shift out. So you're going to be learning to shift into this position and out of this position without it becoming the dominant strategy. Left cross-body medicine ball throw. So again, dynamics, turning into that left side, using the right propulsive strategy to push me into the left side. Cross-connect step-ups become very, very powerful in this situation because of the way that you're going to elevate the pelvis on the cross-connect. We're going to also reinforce this right propulsive strategy with the delay on the left. Then you're going to move into some more progressive type things. So like A marches, A skips, lateral cutting drills. So whether this is an athlete or not, I would try to work those strategies into this because ultimately you want somebody to be able to control this dynamically. And so we all behave at different loads and speeds. And so you always want to make sure that we're progressing these people to where they can manage these strategies in the higher dynamic type of activities. So Carmine, I hope that gives you some strategy to work with and some understanding. I appreciate your question, TJ. I hope that was sufficient for you to answer your question from yesterday on Instagram. Have a great Tuesday. Happy birthday to brother Jim. It's his birthday. I'm not sure how old he is anymore, but he might be 59. I'm not sure. Might be 59. Wow. How about that? Anyway, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.